What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel where we talk about how to build credit, how to establish relationships with banks and financial institutions, and most importantly, how to get you access to high limit credit funding. If that's something you like to listen to, we welcome you to subscribe. Otherwise, you can support our channel if you like, share, or even comment down below. It helps our content get out to a wider audience, and we greatly appreciate the support. As a reminder, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the latest alerts on all the different content and videos that we drop here on the Credit Plug channel. So, for today's video, I'm going to be addressing a topic that we've covered several times. For some of the OG subscribers, I've done this, so it might be repetitive, but we've grown a lot over the past, couple of weeks and couple of months. So I just wanted to reiterate this because I know a lot of people don't go back and watch some of the older videos. But this particular topic was on authorized user trade lines. Now, this is a hot button topic. I get dozens and dozens of emails every single day, people inquiring about authorized user trade lines. And actually, coming from someone who that's kind of how I got my start in the credit space, is recognizing the value or the demand for authorized user trade lines. So for those of you who don't know what an authorized user trade line is, it's essentially a credit account where a revolving credit account, usually a credit card in 99% of the scenarios where you would add someone as an authorized user. That authorized user inherits the credit data. So the credit account that they were added to starts to report on their credit profiles, all their different credit reports. So one of the benefits of that is that that individual inherits the account history, assuming that it's positive history. So things like their number of on-time payments, the amount of available credit, and then the age of the account, that'll be factored into the average age. So if it's someone with a younger profile and the authorized user trade line has a long history, then that'll boost up their average age of accounts. So those combination of factors can help increase credit score. But one thing you have to remember, right? There's a difference between credit scores and underwriting. Now, the reason why I say this is because there's this assumption that all you need to do if you have bad credit or no credit at all is add authorized user trade lines, and then you can go to a bank and they'll give you comparable types of approvals and limits. That strategy worked several years ago, but in today's day and age, in 2020, that strategy does not work. And the reason why it does not work is because when underwriters are looking at your profile, they're looking at your primary accounts, right? Accounts where you're 100% legally responsible for that account and you've managed that account over a certain period of time. Remember, an authorized user account is not actually your account. That does not show your credit worthiness or your ability to repay. And underwriters understand this and they know this. So sometimes, institutions will even rescore your credit based only on your primary accounts. And I've seen this firsthand. Like I've had several, individuals reach out to me. I'll review their credit score. They can't figure out why they're getting denied. And when I look at their profile, I see, okay, you have all these authorized user accounts, but you have little to no primary accounts where you're the primary account holder, where you're legally responsible for the debt. The difference between a primary account and an authorized user account, a primary account is going to be weighted more heavily when it comes to your credit and when it comes to underwriting, right? An authorized user account, yes, it's going to increase your credit score, but a high credit score does not always mean easier approvals, right? You could have someone, and I've seen this countless times, right? Someone with like a 670, 680 get more approvals and higher limits than someone with, a 750, 780, because that person with the 670, 680 has primary accounts over a certain period of time. Now, they might have a couple things that might be dragging their score slightly down, right? Their utilization might be a little high. They might have a lot of recent inquiries, or they might have a late payment or a collection that's just dragging them down. But they have a more comprehensive profile versus the 780 where they just bought 4 or 5 authorized users and they don't have no accounts of their own. And I always emphasize this, but for whatever reason, this idea of taking a shortcut, I just want to let you know that that shortcut does not work. So, spending, hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars to, get that boost. Yeah, I know it feels good when you check Credit Karma and you see, that trade line hit and your score jumped up 80 points. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden, you're going to walk into American Express and they're going to give you a $50,000 limit, or, you could walk into a dealership, or, even go get a house. If you try to go apply for a mortgage and all you have is authorized user accounts, you're going to get denied. Plain and simple, right? It just does not work that way anymore. Well, it's never worked that way with mortgages, but like with credit cards, loans, it's just not going to cut it. You still need to do these foundational steps, and the one thing that I see is kind of this reluctance to go through, and put in the time, right? A lot of people don't believe in the process. You have to go through a process, right? No one just jumps out there to, 20 and 30 and $40,000 credit card limits. No one that I know, so it just does not happen, right? You have to build foundational steps, and you have to have patience, right? It doesn't happen overnight, right? If you the earlier you start, the sooner along this you'll be. So, you may not want to get that $500 or $1,000, 750 credit card limit, but work with that, because that, the one thing you got to remember is your goal is to, when you're at that level, you want to build data. It's all about the data. When you don't have the data is what justifies the approvals. So when you don't have primary, preferably bank issued, data points of you managing accounts responsibly and repaying those accounts, then that's not going to unlock higher and higher limits. And that's one thing that I try to emphasize as much as I can. You need the data to support it. You want a $20,000 limit. Well, then what accounts have you managed where you were primarily responsible for that? In an analogy, well, actually, I'm not even going to get into that analogy, but, you know, what can you handle, right? What have you shown through your credit data that you can handle? And that's really what it's all about. So, having as many accounts, it doesn't matter if you're starting out with low limits. You got to build up those data points, right? And then just, go higher and higher from that. So I know a lot of people, they want to just jump out to it, but it's just like you need the data, right? It doesn't matter. You could have a high income. You could have $1 million in your shoebox, right? If you don't have that credit data, it doesn't matter, how much cash you have, how much, money that you might have, or how credit worthy you actually are. You need to demonstrate that through your credit data in order to unlock these, types of, accounts and limits. Now, if you do have cash, then you can, in a sense, force your way with certain institutions by leveraging your cash position, collateralizing that cash, turn it into a credit product, and building data from that. Then after you've built enough data, you get your cash back, and they say, okay, we've seen you manage this, and start to unlock things from there. So that's one thing you can do if you do have cash. But if you just have cash sitting in a shoebox, that's not helping your credit whatsoever. So just keep that in mind. And when it comes to authorized users, it's one part, right? It's not the whole solution. Don't think authorized users is just going to, skyrocket you to getting high limit approvals, because it's just not. You're going to spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars and not get the results that you want to get. And remember, I'm telling you this as someone who, provides trade lines, makes money off of trade lines. So telling you this information is against, my best interests financially, but it's just the truth of the matter because I've seen it firsthand. And then another thing I wanted to address too is this idea that adding a trade line is a band-aid for derogatory accounts, collections, late payments, things like that. It's just, that's a whole separate issue that you have to address. A trade line is not going to fix that. So that's a whole separate issue. And lastly, too, one thing I wanted to mention about that, if you do have derogatory accounts, things like that, get those addressed. If you don't know where to go, we have a good company that we partner with that gets great results, Crown Credit Pro. I'll leave their information in the description of the video. But yeah, you want to get any derogatory data off your report before you even start to add trade lines, really, because you're not going to get that full boost when you have things dragging you down. And on top of that, you know, you're going to want to have your profile clean before you apply to anything. I see a lot of people, oh, I try to apply for this and this, but you had bad credit off break. That's just going to, eliminate any possibility of you getting approved. Like, why would you try to apply somewhere where you have derogatory things kind of dragging you down? Not to say you can't get approved, but your chances are just, you already have something working against you. So you want to position yourself in the best possible manner in order to have the best chances of success. But anyways, that's my rant on authorized user trade lines. Let us know your comments and opinions in the comment section right down below. And until next time, y'all take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.